happy it's Good Friday, and this is the day Jesus died for all of our sins. So, you know what? Have fun. It's all paid for. You're playing with the house money. Oh, just same way it is. It's tax day, or was. I think AOC should be the candidate. Do you?
No. I mean, no, I'm not saying. I mean, like, it's not my job to pick who the candidate is going to be.
Oh, it's mine.
Yes.
And it's not. It shouldn't be her.
Maybe you should talk to the president about that.
It shouldn't be her.
Things have definitely changed for Bill Maher since his Oval Office dinner with Donald Trump, and he's not staying quiet. He's been openly sharing what he liked about Trump, and as expected, the woke crowd is freaking out.
And he's not staying
They're
quiet.
trying
He's been
to pull him back
openly
into cancel culture, even
journals
publishing
directly
hit
attacking him.
pieces
But
and critical articles. But here's the twist. Bill Maher isn't backing down. He's clapping back with strong words that are getting major attention. It's the kind of bold stand that many on the right are taking against cancel culture. Tap that subscribe button. Let's dive into what happened next.
Go a day without thinking about what he's done to this country, because he's such a little baby that he's thrown 250 years of democracy out the window by not accepting the results of an. I mean, it's so crazy. He's such a sociopath. He's so insane. He just couldn't admit to losing. And we know he lost. He knows he lost. And look how he's fooled everybody. He's convinced all these people that he didn't lose. He's such a sick man. He's so sick. Anyway, no, it hasn't impacted me at all.
Every day it becomes more obvious. Bill Maher is standing up to the woke crowd, not siding with them. He's been calling them out one issue at a time, and it's been honestly amazing to see. Even when it comes to the tense situation between Israel and Palestine, he didn't hold back. He broke down the woke arguments with clear logic. Anyone with basic common sense can understand his points. And that's exactly why some people on the left are getting so uncomfortable.
Because Bill Maher, first of all, I totally agree. He's totally in the right to do it. And I loved his monologue. Even though I disagree with most everything he believes politically, he was right to do this and he was right to speak out about it. But this isn't about that dinner. It's about the next one, because this is the modern left. It's an attempt always to intimidate people into not ever doing it again. It's to silence yourselves, or we'll do it for you. That's the purpose of this op-ed, so that the next comedian or the next person on the American left chooses not to speak to Donald Trump. This is all an effort to get people not to do what you just said, which is to talk to.
I voted for Obama. I voted for Clinton. But the idea that I could talk to them as freely as I felt this conversation was going is emblematic to me of why the Democrats lose the elections. Because they just don't feel that this is like a real person. And I know it's so weird to say that about Donald Trump, who I've said a jillion times is, a whiny little bitch. I mean, I could go through my greatest hits of like insults, but this was about getting past that and maybe seeing that if we met in person, we don't hate each other as much, and we don't. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to like pretend that's a bad thing.
No, it's how you.
At the same time, the woke crowd keeps shouting in support of Palestine, even though many of them know the full story. They just choose to ignore it. Bill Maher is simply stating facts, and that's what's making them so upset. For those who don't know, Israel is the only country still living on the same land, speaking the same language, and worshiping the same God as it did 3,000 years ago. But still, the woke crowd paints Israel as the villain and ignores real facts. It's not just wrong, it's embarrassing.
Jews' homeland, and Jews have always lived there. You can look it up. It's in this book called The Bible. It says the Jews built a temple with a really big wall 7 centuries before Muhammad or Islam ever existed, and sure as shit, you can still go there and touch it. Calling Jews colonizers in Israel is like calling Native Americans colonizers here. It's ridiculous. To mark the October 7th anniversary, we must launch a campaign to educate young Americans about the Middle East. And the way I'd like to begin that process is by addressing an open letter to Chappell Roan, a great new recording artist who, like a Hezbollah pager, is really blowing up. Chappell, if you think it was repressive growing up queer in the Midwest, try the Mideast. Chappell, did you know that for 2,000 years, Palestine was like an Uber driver with a 3-star rating? Nobody wanted it. And there was never any Arab country called Palestine. Chappell, you're not wrong that oppression is bad, or that Palestinian and many other Muslim populations are oppressed and deserve to be freed. You just have it completely ass backwards as to who is doing the oppressing. Hamas is a terrorist mafia that took over Gaza. These are the oppressors. And when you make it all about Israel, you take the pressure off of them. You enable them. Gender may not be binary, but right and wrong kind of is.
Like I said, Bill Maher isn't holding back when it comes to calling out the extreme woke agenda. He's using facts, reason, and common sense. And that's exactly why some people are trying so hard to shut him down. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Not everyone agrees with the criticism of his dinner with Trump. Tyrus had a strong opinion on it that takes the conversation in a whole new direction. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you like the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. There's more on the way.
Being a liberal that acknowledges male-female distinctions, what a concept,
Oh, of
right?
course.
I mean,
Of all the low-lying fruit that the Democrats just like hand the Republicans to win elections, that's the one.
you know, it's so funny. I joked around with my team the other day. I said, are they really going to just let us win every national election on this no men and female sports thing?
Right.
Like, they can't surrender on this one issue.
It's so ridiculous.
It's a 90-10 issue.
Yeah.
There's 890 medals and trophies of men winning these competitions.
You lost Gavin Newsom on this. Okay? Take that as a hint, right? I mean, I think you were
I was the one that asked the question.
Right. Yeah. No,
And he
that's
said, issue of fairness.
That the best legal minds in Britain spent years having to work out the first thing we knew as a species.
But just to be clear, we're not saying there's not such a thing as trans, right? We're not saying there's not such a thing as someone who is, quote unquote, born in the wrong body.
I don't think people get born in the wrong body now.
Oh, I do.
I do.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a default setting for, like, we should acknowledge that. It's not just every time there's a baby, ooh, who knows what the fuck it is. That's crazy. But there are...
Beyond me, yeah.
But there are variations.
There are variations.
Homosexuality.
That's right. It's a continuum.
And then, you know, but it's how we handle that.
That's
you know?
right.
I mean, and I think we would agree that, you know, children, and this is where America is now an outlier country. We're the only country that went full, and I guess Trump is reversing it, but certainly under Biden, who went fully toward that. Like, we don't care what age, kids can self-diagnose themselves. I mean, that to me was going way too far on this. Again, nobody just comes back to the sensible center.
Yep. I mean, to me, the sensible center is that, like, you respect people, you trust parents, you let parents figure out what to do with their kids, and you don't need a bunch of politicians in Washington making decisions about
That is not the Democratic position, at least here in California.
Well, that's my position.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Good. I think that's where the Democratic Party should. That is not the position that we've had here in California, which is like, don't tell the parents what the kids are doing at school. That's a whole, and that you really alienate voters.
Yeah.
Parents are voters. When you're not a parent yet, you know, it's like, oh, voting, whatever, you know.
Sex is not a spectrum. I mean, it's male and female. There are some people with very unusual conditions who deserve absolute sympathy and support. But that does not mean that we're a hermaphroditic species. We're just not.
No, but
that's not it.
No, not the whole species. But this goes back, I mean, I don't want to use the term chicks with dicks, but I could.
You did.
I mean, this goes back to like ancient Rome, and like there was always people who were like not quite one.
It's not hard to get to toleration and acceptance without rewriting biology.
Right.
That's
right.
It's a